green. So close to purple.
Good morning and welcome to this first ARSTEMolution webinar series, episode 1. This is going to be kind of a new experience for us. We're trying out some new technology. We have a good portion of our STEMolution team around the table today. Going to share some information with you, and hopefully you will find out something today that maybe you didn't know in the past, or just some information that you can use going forward. I am Anthony Owen. I am the Chief State STEM Officer for Arkansas, also the Computer Science Director for the state, and just glad that you could join us. So we're going to jump right in and get right to it, because we hope not to keep you all too long this morning, as we know that y'all have things to do and children to see to, etc. So I'm going to jump in with a little bit of an overview, and then we'll get into the content areas specifically. So what is ARSTEMolution? Well, it's not something that we're putting a lot of new stuff on your plate as teachers. We understand that y'all are already very stressed, already have a lot of things that are going on within your classrooms and within your day-to-day lives. So if you're expecting us to heap a lot of work on you under a new onto you under a new initiative, I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's not what this is about. What it is about is it is a rethinking or a new thought process of how we're going to approach STEM education within the state of Arkansas. It is looking at our structures, looking at the people that we have in place, and looking at our systems that we're asking our teachers and our schools to fulfill. So what is STEMolution? It's more of a reassignment here locally at the Department of Education and our partners at the Department of Career Education of our thought processes and our work. So I always like to kind of start this conversation with a consideration of our current workforce, because that's really what STEM is about this day and age. STEM is about jobs. STEM is about economic development. So if you go 8 years out, it is estimated that 16% of all current jobs will be replaced by automated technology. If you jump 15 years out, that jumps to 38%. 45 years out, we're at over 50%. And as we know, this is already happening. You can look at examples. Call center operatives. Thank goodness we don't have this at ADE yet, though it might actually answer the phone a little more often. Retail cashiers. I love this one myself, being able to run into Walmart for that 1 gallon of milk and walking out with $100 worth of items. Fast food workers, robots making your hamburgers. And trust me, these robots don't cost $15 an hour to operate. Commercial drivers, automated trucks, and many others. So what we have to do as educators, what we have to do at the department, is we have to ask ourselves, what will the workers of tomorrow do? Well, most simply, they will program, install, repair, secure, and improve these technologies and create even more advanced technologies that will continue to displace the human workforce. We know in Arkansas that we are heading for a technological displacement in our workforce. So we have to prepare our students for it, and here at the department, we are committed to preparing our students for that displacement. So why is STEMolution necessary? Well, we must reassess how we approach STEM education. We cannot continue teaching math and science in isolation. Meaningful technology and engineering integration is vital to the future viability of our state's workforce. This is our commitment. This is how we're moving forward under Arkansas STEMolution, and we're asking y'all to take this trip with us. So one of our first big steps in creating the STEMolution was a reassignment of our different units here at ADE. Many of y'all, for many years, are aware that for many years we've had our curriculum and instruction unit. Has been a very, very well-ran unit. I actually was a member of that unit where it was first created as a math specialist, and it has went through many changes in its scope and what it did for our agency. Whenever we started the STEMolution process, though, we saw a need to separate the STEM subject areas to a certain extent from the humanities so we could focus on STEM education, and the humanities unit could focus on humanities. So we created an entirely new unit. They're all under the division, or both under Division of Learning Services. We now have the ADE STEM unit, and we have the humanities unit. I have the pleasure of leading the newly created STEM unit at ADE along with my computer science unit. And these are our members currently of our internal ADE members of our STEM unit. And this slide, this deck is available. There's a link to it in the notes or on the webinar series page. So if you miss something on one of these slides and you want it later, you can always download it. And we will also post this video. So my team asked me to kind of go through some of the recent updates of the required 38 and graduation requirement before I hand it off to them. And they're going to reiterate these in both math and science and talk a little bit more specifically in math and science, but I wanted to kind of hit the high points and get us started on this discussion. So if you take math, and we're looking at the required 38, and for those of y'all out there saying, okay, required 38, what is that? I'll give you a little reminder. The required 38 are the courses that every high school in the state of Arkansas is required to offer, okay, to make available to their students. These are not courses that every student in Arkansas are required to finish to graduate, but courses that every school must offer. We'll get into graduation requirements for math on the next slide. But under the 38 required courses, not a lot has changed for math. You still have the 4 basic requirements. Every school in Arkansas must offer Algebra 1 or provide to its students Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and Pre-Calculus. Then you get the option of choosing 2 additional courses. And those optional courses are listed there. Now there are some other requirements that our math team will get into a little bit more in depth regarding transitional course requirements and other issues with that. So if we think about now the graduation requirements under math, actually it looks like I'm going to talk about the 38 required courses in science. We must have got those flipped again. So 38 required courses in science. Schools must offer 5 science courses. There are 3 that are required: physical science integrated, biology integrated, and chemistry integrated. And schools can choose 2 of the ones listed. Now, this is not to be confused with the recent commissioner's memo that came out allowing for science credit in some career education courses and some other offerings. Remember, the 38 is different than the required graduation credits. So the 38 required courses are courses that every school is required to offer, where there are separate graduation requirements that are student level requirements. This is a school level requirement. So now let's get into the graduation requirements. So not a lot has changed on this, but options have become more available for our students and schools to consider. So under mathematics, we still require 4 credits. And in Arkansas, our default pathway is still the Smart Core pathway, which requires Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and an ADE approved 4th math credit beyond Algebra 2 or a computer science flex credit. That is your Smart Core math requirement. Science, we still require 3 credits. There has been a little bit of change in terminology and implementation for science. We now require an ADE approved biology, and we have expanded the options for biology, and our science team will talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. An ADE approved physical science, and notice that's written with a lower p and a lower s. Yes, I know it's very confusing that we have a course named physical science, but physical science is a larger category with lower p and lowercase s that encompasses a whole broad range of courses, and once again our science team will talk about that. The 3rd science credit is really the larger change in the science world. In the past, it has been listed as 2 physical sciences, and we had all these kind of yes this, no that, and it got very confusing. Even internally, it got very confusing. So we decided just to break off that 3rd science requirement. So you still have 1 biology credit requirement, you still have 1 physical science requirement, and we decided to break off that 3rd science requirement and offer a lot more courses for students to as available for them to take, or the computer science flex credit can replace that 3rd science. Once again, our science team will talk a little bit more in depth about that. So I've mentioned the CS flex credit twice. What is it? And this is kind of my world. We have our lead CS specialist here in a second. You'll hear from her. But I want to reiterate that the CS flex credit is not a math. It is not a science. It changes the student's graduation requirements from being 4 math credit to 3 math credits and a computer science, or from 3 science credits to 2 science and a computer science credit. And yes, different computer science credits could replace that 4th math and that 3rd science if the student needs that to happen. Backing up just a second, on the previous slide, I mentioned that math, there was some differences between Smart Core and Core, and our math team will talk about that a little bit more. Science, there is no difference going forward between Smart Core and Core. The requirements are exactly the same. Okay, so our math team and our science team will talk a little bit more about that. Obviously, you can still waive Smart Core with informed consent to the parents or guardians, and Algebra 2 and or the 4th math may be replaced if Smart Core is waived. And then there's obviously a lot of different offerings and options for courses. So for science, once again, there's really no difference between Smart Core and Core. Okay, so that takes us to our math program, and I'm going to turn it over now. I'm going to introduce a fairly new member to our team, and that's Dr. Tina Moore, and I'm going to get her up here on camera. I'm also, if you're wondering, I'm running the camera system at this point also, so I'm double dutying. Not only am I presenting, but running that, so we'll have a little bit of fun with that today. But Dr. Moore is with us, and she's a fairly new member to our team, came on, I guess, last July, has really hit the ground running within the world of mathematics, and I'm going to turn it over to her and let her introduce her cohort and kind of take over from here on mathematics.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be with y'all today, and as Anthony said, I just joined ADE last summer, and we have hit the ground running with our great math specialists across the state to develop a Math PD initiative that we'll talk about here in a little bit. And first, I'd like to introduce you to Veronica, my colleague here at ADE. Veronica has been with ADE for a few years, and you may have talked with her in the past. She handles all kinds of things from course approvals to all kinds of curriculum questions, leads the state PD for quantitative literacy and our transitional math course. So she does a lot around here at ADE, so you may already be familiar with Veronica. But she's going to talk us through the specifics of the 38 required courses and how that affects math. Veronica?
Thank you. Good morning. As Tina mentioned, I'm Veronica Hebert, and Anthony talked earlier about the 38 required courses and the 6 for math, and he mentioned that it's Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and Pre-Cal, and then any 2 from the choices that are there. What I'd really like to talk to you about is the transitional courses for math. Schools must make a transitional course available, but students are not required to take the course, and the code for that is at the bottom if you would like to look that up. Transitional Math Ready course, also called the SREB course or Math Ready course, does have a 3-day required training, but it provides a complete curriculum online, and we have a live binder with a test bank and rubrics. Algebra 3 is the other transitional course, and there's no training provided for that. We'd like to do a little Algebra 2 true or false with you now. So, true or false, students must have Algebra 2 in order to graduate. This is false. This requirement was changed over 5 years ago. Students must have Algebra 2 to qualify for the Academic Challenge Scholarship. This is also false. Students only need a 19 on the ACT in order to qualify. So Core and Smart Core for math. Algebra 2 is the deciding factor for Smart Core. So if a student does not have Algebra 2, then they are going to be in the core pathway. And that means any of the math courses that we have on the ADE approved math course list, or the career education and technological courses, or the computer science flex will count in the core pathway. And this is new. As of the 2019-2020 school year, Bridge to Algebra 2 will no longer count as one of the 6 courses that schools are required to offer. So it's no longer part of the 38. If you would like to have some help to find an alternative pathway for Bridge to Algebra 2, please give me a call and I can help you with that. We also have some other optional credits for math, and this will help with that Bridge to Algebra 2 that you might want to replace. We have our career education and technical courses. These can be in the SMART core or the core pathway. It's Algebra 2 dependent. There are 5 options in the Career Ed. This does not take the place of a math course in the required 38. Does not take one of those 6 spots, the algebra, geometry, algebra 2 pre-cal, and the 2 that you get to choose from. And then we also have all of our computer science flex. These are core, SMART core. It's algebra 2 dependent. And again, it does not take the place of one of the required 38. So as I stated earlier, if you are looking for some possible pathways for math, all you have to do is give me a call or email. Our information will be on this website. I'll be happy to help you with some of these and give you some options for you and your students.
Thank you so much, Veronica. So now we're going to just touch briefly on Arkansas Math Quest. That is our new math, and I say in air quotes, initiative. It's our PD, but our professional learning now lasts 2 years. ESSA has asked that PD be more than just that sit and get one time 6 hours and done, but something that really is embedded in the everyday instruction with teachers, and that's how we make the most impact with teaching and learning. So Arkansas Math Quest, you may hear us say it's a journey for ambitious teaching, because we are promoting equity engagement of all students in reasoning and problem solving. ADE, with our vision and mission, really focus on student-centered instruction, and AR Math Quest is that for mathematics. We really want to make sure students are developing a positive identity as doers of mathematics. AR Math Quest, it's an acronym because, you know, in ADE and any government office we have to have lots of those. Quantitative essentials for students and teachers, because it focuses not only what teachers are doing instructionally, but what students are doing. It's based upon a framework that highlights the 8 mathematical practice standards for students, as well as 8 effective teaching practices identified by the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics. I'll share with you a little bit about the timeline. We had an application process which is still open, and there are still spots in several co-op areas across the state, but this training starts this coming summer, and it's held in co-ops. It's a 2-year program. It starts with a 2-year PD in the summer. There's an ongoing book study. We will have embedded instruction with the math specialists across the state going in classrooms, supporting teachers, observing and providing feedback, doing that coaching cycle. And also there will be follow-up PD in the fall where teachers will be able to bring in artifacts, lesson plans, student work, and really learn with each other and from each other. We're very excited that this will continue the following summer with 2 more days of professional development and ongoing job embedded support. So we are really putting a lot of focus on supporting teachers in the classroom beyond just our summer PD. Everybody in the PD will receive the Taking Action book, NCTM's book on implementing the effective teaching practices, and this is grade band specific. For this first year, we're starting with grades 6 through 8, and those teachers who teach Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry, but in future years, we will expand that cohort to K-5 teachers. If you want more information, you can go to the ADE website and look on the mathematics page and click on professional development, and you will see information about AR Math Quest. If you click on state-supported face-to-face professional learning, that will take you to a Google Doc where we have all of our face-to-face PD listed. There is a special requirement for AR Math Quest though. I know some of our other PD you can just go in and sign up on your own. This is by application and acceptance only, so you can contact your local co-op or you can reach out to me for more information. So we really hope that many of you will be able to join us. We have a special training that starts in the fall that goes throughout the entire school year for instructional facilitators and coaches so that you might learn how to coach ambitious teaching in the classroom. Thanks so much.
Okay, and while we transition to our science team as they come in and we behind the scenes do all the camera work, I want to remind everyone that there's a link to a question/comment submission form out there. Also, there's a link to the slide deck. If you have questions or comments, please fill out that form. If it is something that we can answer online, we will. Or address online, we will. We started to open the chat, but we felt like this would probably be a little bit better way for us to approach the opportunity to engage with our audience. So we are asking that you submit your email address, so if we do not get to it online, you will probably receive a follow-up email. So with that, I'm going to introduce someone who really does not need an introduction in the world of STEM in Arkansas or in the world of science in Arkansas, and that is our program manager who has been with us for many years, and that's Miss Catherine Mackey. So I'm going to turn it over to her on science.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Mackey. I am Science Program Manager, as Anthony just mentioned. I think that was a nice way of saying I'm old. But anyway, give him a little dig right there. So I'm excited to share with you the changes that are coming and have been developed for science. It's a great time to be a science teacher. It's a great time to be engaged in science in our state. So we are moving forward with things that are going to improve access for students to a variety of different courses. So we're excited about this change happening through our STEMolution. I want to introduce my cohort here, Michelle Snyder. Michelle is a science specialist and has been for several years here at the department, and she has done great work working with our ACE friends, Arkansas Career Ed, to open up and expand opportunities in sciences, and she'll be leading you through discussing several of the things going on around courses and the 38. And I want to guide you to encourage you to look at the science page on our website. That page has several different topics there for you, and I encourage you to search using our search engine feature, and search for the word science is the easiest way to find our page. And from that page you will see the clever little icons that are developed for the science logos, and really we're proud of that. And we have links there to the 3 main topics for standards and courses, and there you will find all the ADE developed standards, and you will also find the courses that were developed from those standards. We have professional development opportunities and also resources, and we'll be talking about each of those separately. I'm going to turn this over to Michelle. Michelle is the expert here. If you have any questions related to courses and standards, Michelle is your lady. She's very knowledgeable in this area, and she's going to just reiterate a little bit about the required 38.
Thank you, Kathy. So these are some recent changes, and as Anthony mentioned earlier, schools are still required to offer 5 science courses, and those 3 that are required are the 3 integrated courses: physical science integrated, biology integrated, and chemistry integrated. And then schools can choose from that list of other courses. Astronomy is newly developed. Chemistry 2 is a more complex chemistry beyond chemistry integrated. Earth science is new for us as well. And the anatomy and physiology was also revised. So also notice that the approved AP and IB offerings now also fit in the required 38 category for science. Here on our science standards page, you're going to see all of our new courses that we've recently added that are the CTE category. So in addition to all of the courses developed by the Arkansas K-12 Science Standards Committee, we have recently added chemistry of food, which is FACS. We've added 3 case courses, which are rigorous agricultural science courses, and 3 project lead the way courses: aerospace engineering, principles of engineering, and the human body system. So we really feel like these are opening up the opportunities for students to engage there in that 3rd science category. With the recent changes, SMART Core and Core are now identical for science. In the past, that waiver was applicable to both math and science, but now it is just a math waiver. And all students must earn 3 science credits, of course, to graduate. And so we have a collection of biology courses that can be taken to earn that biology credit. We have a collection of physical science courses to earn that physical science credit. And I want to be clear here, when we say physical science, we're talking about a collection of physical science courses that include that physical science integrated. We're talking about the collection of chemistry courses that we offer. The AP chemistry, for example, is in that collection, IB chemistry, concurrent chemistry, and then as well, all of the physics choices are there. So that's what we mean when we say a physical science. So students will still have that ability to track themselves with that classic track of biology credit, a chemistry credit, and a physics credit, or they can opt for the other new courses there in the 3rd category. Don't forget that we can also, here in the 3rd category, do the computer science flex credit in place of the science credit. But please look on our website and you will see all of the individual courses that can apply in the 3rd ADE approved science. And one of those new additions that I think will interest many people is AP biology, and concurrent biology can also be now in that 3rd category. So a student could take a biology integrated course, a chemistry integrated course, and an AP biology course to meet their science graduation credits. Great improvements. The other option, again, to repeat is the career education courses, and these are still career education courses. However, they are now able to meet that 3rd science credit. And again, those are Project Lead the Way, CASE, and FACS. Keep in mind that these courses do not replace the 38. And then again, we have our computer science flex credit that's also core or smart core. So there again is no difference between core and smart core for science. We've got a little true and false as well for you. All students must take all of the 3 integrated science courses. Well, that's false. Students have a choice of several courses now to choose from to earn those 3 categories of biology, a physical science, and a 3rd. Students must take specific science courses to qualify for the Academic Challenge Scholarship. False. Students only need a 19 on the ACT. Students can take a computer science course to earn a science credit. False. Students can opt to earn that computer science flex credit in place of a 3rd natural science.
Thank you, Michelle. That's very informative. Lots of exciting changes. I want to speak to you just a moment about our GPS PD. GPS stands for Grasping Phenomenal Science. This is a program completely created within Arkansas. We started this in 2015. We have reached out to thousands of teachers, K through 12, who've participated in Grasping Phenomenal Science. As it has evolved over time, we have developed a classroom level support system, follow-up support for those that attend the Grasping Phenomenal Science professional development. And so some of the benefits of having your teachers or yourself participate in the Grasping Phenomenal Science PD and classroom support is it models the science practices that are assessed on the ACT Aspire. As a matter of fact, 3 of our brand new professional developments for this summer tie exactly to those reporting categories for the ACT Aspire. Science investigations, modeling, and being able to construct explanations around those models. Those professional developments are going to be available to specifically target science instruction that supports success on that ACT Aspire. It targets higher depth of knowledge levels for assessment tasks. What does that look like in the classroom, and has teachers experience that? It supports connections to literacy and math standards. So we're trying to make those connections, especially in elementary school, where we know often time for science is shortened at times. We want teachers to experience how literacy and science working together with math can really give a well-rounded opportunity through a science experience. It models strategies that increase student engagement. Our vision is all around student-focused education, and the science really models how to engage kids in doing science. It builds teacher leadership skills. It gives teachers skills that they can take back through their PLCs to develop formative assessment tasks. That's one of the specific professional developments that are rolling out this summer, is specifically on science formative assessment and how to build that. So we're excited about that. And it supports that student growth in science. It's part of the SQS in the ESSA plan. So it's a win-win all the way around. You can find access to those professional development sessions through our Science Professional Development page. If you look at where it says state-supported face-to-face professional learning opportunities, if you click there, you will see all around the state every session that is scheduled through ESC Works. You can actually click on those links and register for those sessions from the website. That is new. I think that's an additional really important access for you to be able to do that. There are well over 100 different sessions posted there. Please scroll all the way down. There are 9 different opportunities. So you scroll through, each page has a list of sessions for that. So be sure you scroll through there and see what really strikes your fancy for this summer. And don't just come to one. They're all different. So choose a couple. So looking forward to those summer professional development opportunities. I'd like to introduce to you at this moment the third and newest member of our science team. She's also STEM. So she's a true STEM integration specialist, and her name is Pam Vaughn, and she comes to us from the Camden Fairview School District.
Thank you, Kathy. Well, if you're looking for science resources, we have a great place for you to start your search. As you can see on the science resource page, there's a series of links, and some of those will take you to pages within the ADE website, and others will take you to outside sources. It's divided into 4 sections. We have science assessment, science safety, and please review that science safety section because it's very important. We value safety in the science classroom. You'll find links such as to the Arkansas Eye Protection legislation and other NSDA safety resources. The third section is science standards implementation, and there you'll find a section on frequently asked questions, a link to that. And then the fourth and final section for resources are Arkansas standards and courses. We hope you find this page useful and easy to use. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. That's great. Great resources. I really encourage you to go there and check those out. Thank you.
Okay, so we're back to transition phase. So unfortunately, you have to look back at me for a couple seconds as we transition. I would like to introduce our next lead person for our STEM team. I have some great members of my team. I have some wonderful leaders. And this person is with no exception. Whenever I took on this expanded role as Chief State STEM Officer, I knew that I had to have someone who could help me with the CS program, the computer science program. I'd ran that within our office for a couple, 3 years with just Melinda and I pretty much, and our specialist out in the field, which did such a great job. But I knew I needed someone who would kind of step up in a leadership role, help us with scheduling the lead specialist, help us with getting everything together, and I made no mistake in my choosing of Kelly Griffin, who has really become my right arm in the CS program. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her share some more information about the CS program with you.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Griffin, and I am the lead computer science specialist, and I'm very excited to be here to discuss computer science with you today. One of the first things that I wanted to talk about is that according to code.org, students rank computer science among one of their favorite courses. 90% of our parents feel like it is something that should be offered for their students. As far as the jobs in the United States, the digital skills are extremely important. And with computer science, Some of the skills that they would develop are not only in programming, but computational thinking, sequential thinking, problem solving. So there are so many skills through computer science in combination with some of the other courses that they take that certainly can benefit our students as they progress through high school and beyond. And so one of the things that I wanted to share with you also is the gap that we have right now in the number of computing jobs and the number of students that we have that are pursuing a degree in computer science. There is already a very large gap, and that will only increase over time. So we want to make sure that our students are aware that this is something, not only are the jobs there, but that they may find that this is absolutely where they fit in the STEM portion. So in computer science in Arkansas, in 2014-15, we had around 1,100 students that were choosing to take a computer science course in high school. Over time, and of course this will show in 15, 16, 17, but in this last year we had over 8,000 students that chose to take a computer science course. And so we're very excited about the increase, and while that is great, we hope to continue that increase over time. I do want to share a little bit with you about the website, some of the resources, and some exciting projects that we have. So this slide is only showing a portion of the computer science webpage, but one of the links that I want to draw your attention to is the 5th link that's a computer science fact sheet. So as we go through some of this information today, and hopefully those things are clear once we've discussed them, if there are questions, this is the sheet that you want to refer to. It is a live document, so anytime we have changes, that's where you would find those changes. One of the special projects that we have is the Arkansas Cyber Range project. It's very exciting. The Cyber Range is located at UCA. It was put in place by Matova. And recently, ADE has gone in partnership with Matova and NYSRC to begin creating cyber security modules that some of those have been released and some of those are scheduled in the near future. There is a place on our website that you can go and request access to those and request access to the Cyber Range. So for our K-12 computer science requirements, for our high school, it is a requirement that all public schools require or offer at least one computer science course that should be offered to 9 through 12. So all 9th through 12th grade students should have access to the entry-level computer science course. For K-8, we have embedded standards that are not intended to be a separate portion of the day. They are intended to be embedded into other subjects and subject areas. So this would be something that a computer lab time would not suffice in this situation. It should be something that all of our K-8 teachers are actually embedded in their regular lessons. And then we also have a coding block which is to be offered in the 7th or 8th grade. It should be at least 4 to 5 weeks of introduction to computer programming. It is a requirement that all students have this before leaving the 8th grade. And so with those, this is one way to help increase the number of students that would choose to take computer science in high school. Having that exposure at a younger age and having the coding block section there hopefully gives the students an opinion on whether or not computer science is something they would want to pursue in high school and beyond. So Mr. Owen mentioned the flex credit, but I do want to remind you that computer science can substitute in place of the 4th math credit or the 3rd science credit. So supporting increased enrollment. With our male versus female enrollment in computer science, while we've seen an increase in the number of females, we would like to see an even greater increase in the number of females that choose to take computer science. So at one point it was an 80-20 split, and now we're at a 73-27. And so it's certainly our focus to continue to reduce that gap. And then we also see this. We see that in our minorities, there's also a gap, and certainly that is also an area that we're aware of that, but we feel like we're headed in the right direction with reducing that gap. And one of the ways that we are addressing that, or that some of that is being, sorry. So some of the ways that we are addressing that would be the fact that we do have almost 7,800 teachers in the classroom now, versus around 1,400 that our schools are offering through the virtual environment. We really can't say enough about having that face-to-face interaction for our students, and it does make all the difference, and certainly in enrollment in these, when you have a face-to-face teacher that's excited about the program and that can encourage our students to enroll and pursue more than one course. So in broadening our participation, it is definitely a focus of ADE's to close that gender gap, but it's also believed that in closing that gender gap, we will also address some of the racial discrepancies that we see in our participation. So some of the support structures that we have in place for computer science, or for educators looking for more information on computer science, is there is a computer science listserv that is a great opportunity. Once you've signed up for that, there are emails that may come out that, whether it's a grant in computer science or activities like the regional coding competition, state coding competition. We recently announced that we will have a Computer Science Educator of the Year. So any information that we have about computer science, this is a great place to find out more about that. And then as far as professional development, we actually have a link here that you could find our professional development. This document is very user-friendly because we have gone through and separated out the different professional developments in a way that it's easy to find the one you want. It's easy to find the co-op that you would like to attend, and there's a link there that you can immediately sign up for those professional developments. This summer we will have, there will be high school, there will be coding block trainings, K4, 5-8, several training opportunities there, and we would love to see you sign up to attend those. And in the state, I do want to point out that we do have, currently there are 8 specialists, but we will have a 9th fairly soon. Jigish Patel, Jim Furness, Lori Kegabine, Tammy Glass, Leslie Savell, Zach Spink, Eli McRae, and myself. Great resources. Any one of us is available to you. Our contact information is on the computer science website, and we would be happy to help you in any way that we can.
Okay, so the awkward pause always means it's time for me to take back over. Great job, Kelly. And we're now transitioning to another great partner, external partner. Is not part of our internal AD team on paper, but he's part of our team in spirit, I think, and has really helped us out. And another person that does not need a very involved introduction, does a lot of work, has served on, I think, science standards, computer science, math. I think he's just done pretty much all of it. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Chris Lynch, Arkansas Career Ed STEM Program Manager. So Chris, the time's yours now. Share what you need to from Career Ed side of things.
Thank you, Anthony. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Lynch, and I am the STEM Manager for the Arkansas Department of Career Education. And right now we are an office of 2. Myself and Miss Jamie Eubanks is our CTE STEM Program Advisor. And I'd also like to thank Anthony and his team for all of the hard work they've done and being such a great collaborative partner, particularly in the realm of computer science and engineering. Anthony's office and his team have been very supportive in helping us promote and create programs of study in career and technical education in the realm of computer science. So briefly, a couple of some of the programs we support and promote through our Arkansas Career Education, and it's done a little bit differently with our office. We create programs of study where the kids take increasing classes of increasing specificity, working toward a goal of potential certification in an industry recognized field. So first up, computer science. And like I said, Anthony's office has been very great to work with, very collaborative and supportive of our computer science programs of study. And we build those programs of study from the standards and from the courses that Anthony's team has created. And those include a wide variety, and we hope to provide flexibility for schools so that schools can adjust those programs of study to match the needs of their students and local industry needs. One of the most exciting programs in our computer science programs of study is the cybersecurity program of study. And once again, Anthony's office has been very supportive of that program, collaborating with us on professional development, working with teachers to ensure that kids get the best opportunity in cyber. And of course, cybersecurity is a huge, growing field of career for students. And I think it's a time for us as a state and as educators to think about our students in 9th grade, 8th grade, and 7th grade and what the world of work will look like to them. Will be different as computer science becomes more integrated into everyday activities, everyday day-to-day workflow. We want to give kids the opportunity to get some experience in fundamental computer science and be able to apply that to their job. We also support programs in drafting and design. This is a career path that kids may not understand is available to them. And drafters and draftspersons and designers create engineering drawings and architectural drawings so that builders, engineers, machinists can create parts, assemblies, and structures. Most of the time, engineers do have some training in drafting, but there are teams of draftspersons who create drawings for engineers and for architects. We also support programs in biomedical science through my office, and the program of study in biomedical science, you kind of want to think of it as an engineering program, and this is where kids design, create, and participate in the engineering design loop to create medical devices. Of course, within that, students will study the human body and different aspects of medicine as they work toward creating new designs. We also support pre-engineering programs in our state, and right now throughout our programs we have about 20,000 students in all of our STEM programs. For pre-engineering, these are the courses. Some of these courses are what Anthony's team mentioned earlier. We have collaborated with the ADE and reviewed those courses, and now some of those courses can count as the third science credit, elective credit. So for pre-engineering, the students engage in a project-based sequence of design work. We encourage the students to be creative, and our teachers go through a very rigorous program of study to start teaching this curriculum. We hope that students have the opportunity to test for certifications that are recognized by industry to give them a leg up in their career choice. And for pre-engineering, typically it matches up with the drafting and design, and the students will test for AutoCAD or Revit certifications so that they can begin drafting pretty much immediately out of high school. And we hope to provide multiple pathways for students to enter and exit programs and stack certifications so they can become more marketable in their chosen career field. One of the more exciting programs of study that we have created and are rolling out into a full program of study next year are unmanned aerial systems, drones. Everyone loves drones. They're fun to fly. But for us in career and technical education, we think drones are a great vehicle, pun intended, to show the integration of STEM and other aspects of science and technology that go into a technical program. So with this program, which consists of 3 courses, the students employ the engineering design loop to design, build, repair, and fly drones. One of the things we're encouraging our programs right now, obviously if you take a drone class, you're going to learn to fly a drone, but we are really interested in what do you do with the data that you get back from the drone, whether it be videography, whether it be LiDAR data, thermal imaging, and we feel like there's a large section of the workforce that will be involved in analyzing that data and employing many different STEM skills to utilize drones for that chosen industry. Oh, also with this program, we hope that and encourage students to test for the Part 107 FAA licensure so that they can fly drones commercially as an entrepreneur or work for another company flying a drone commercially after they exit high school. This program also includes throughout several industry recognized skills, and one of those being soldering. I visit a lot of industry, and we work with industry to determine what skills students will need to enter their particular workforce. And soldering, 3D design, 3D modeling are some of the things that industry asks our department for over and over. And so we feel like the drone program is a good foundation for that. It's also fun, and the kids learn a lot about design work, 3D printing, and they incorporate many STEM schools, specifically mathematics, to fly drones and collect data. Another program that will be available for program approval and startup funding next year in the fall is Automation and Robotics Technology. With this program, this is again a 3-course program of study that includes lots of electrical activities and projects, but in the end result is the students will learn how to program a robotic arm that is used in local industry with the goal of students becoming certified in that particular robot programming language. I like this program and the drone program both because they cross over into the computer science realm, and the kids do a lot of programming in both of these programs. The Automation and Robotics Technology program also provides students multiple opportunities to enter and exit the program and obtain certification. For example, if a student goes through the program and becomes certified in running a robot arm, they can go straight to work at one of our local industries. If they choose to continue in higher education, they could work toward an industrial maintenance certification or industrial engineering certification, or they could even go all the way up to a Bachelor of Science in Engineering or beyond. And so we hope to provide those opportunities for students so that they can choose a career that benefits them, benefits the local economy, and provides them a great work-life balance. My office also supports a student organization called the Technology Student Organization, or TSA. This student organization provides leadership opportunities for our students in STEM and provides them an opportunity to compete and interact with their peers while they are also interacting with industry experts and professionals. We love to get engineers, draftspersons, drone pilots to come to our competitions and be our judges, and it gives the students an opportunity to interact with those professionals. And I think it also sometimes surprises the professionals what our students can do. Some of the challenges that encourage critical thinking and problem solving in STEM that we promote are CO2 dragster, racer, and design. If you haven't seen these little cars, basically it's a pine box derby car with a CO2 cartridge attached, and we crack the CO2 cartridge open, and they're very fast, I'll just say that. Many of our engineering judges have been impressed with the CO2 dragster design and race. We also have programs in aerospace with flight endurance. We also promote, and Anthony's computer science specialists have been great help and support in our programming, coding, and video game production competitions at our state conference and our regional conferences. I like TSA because we do have a lot of crossover with some other organizations. However, the challenges and activities that we do in TSA can catch those students who are doing STEM but may not think they are doing STEM. And I'll give you an example, and that is music production. I know a lot of students like to create beats. They like to produce music on their own. And the kind of fundamental logic that is used in music production is also fundamental to computer science and programming. So we think that TSA can catch some of those kids and encourage them in a STEM career that they may not have thought about before. We like to host at least 2 regional TSA events, and then we will have a state event. This year our state event is April 23rd at the University of Arkansas Little Rock, and everyone is welcome to, if you have a TSA chapter, please roster your students and attend our state conference. It will be a lot of fun. And if you don't have students in TSA but are interested, you are still welcome to come and observe the competitions and interact with some of the students. One more aspect of career and technical education that I think is very important are our career and technical advisory panels. And these career and technical advisory panels give students and teachers an opportunity to interact with local industry professionals to see what kind of skills do our students need to come to work for you. Typically, a lot of those skills are soft skills, but when we work with industry and talk to them a little more about the specifics of their day-to-day job, I find out that obviously computer science and programming is a very, very sought-after skill at almost all levels in our industries and workforce. The industry panel, we ask that they meet twice a year, and we also think that that provides a great point of collaboration with teachers and local industry to support your program of study. I have seen engineers go into classrooms. I have seen engineers work with students on problem solving. We also pull engineers from our industry to help us with our CTSO, our career and technical student events.
Okay, so once again we're back to that awkward silence, so that means y'all are back to me, and we're kind of getting ready to wrap this up. I'm going to invite my math and science team back to the hot seat, so to speak. We have a few questions that came in, so we're going to get some responses on those, and then we will continue from there on our wrap-up time. So looks like we have one question that came in for mathematics, and I think we have provided a direct response to the individual, but it was, where can I find the 5 career technical options that would count as math? So Dr. Moore?
So if you go to the ADE website and get to the math page, we have a standards and courses link. And when you go to the standards and courses link, all of our math standards are listed, K5, 6, 8, and then the high school courses, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, etc. And on there you will see all the career ed courses listed. And you will see Summer Project Lead the Way. You'll see the different courses on there.
Okay, great. So looks like the other couple of questions are for science, so we'll jump to Kathy, and we'll start with the first one. Kathy, Dana asked, where can we find a list of the courses that are included in each science requirement? Sounds very familiar to the previous question.
Yes.
Or similar to the previous question. She says specific courses that count for biology credit, science credit, and the third science option. And I'm glad that they're already recognizing that we have changed that third to a third science. So good job, Dana, on picking that up early. On the course listing page, courses are not organized by that type of credit that schools can award.
So on our standards page, there is, if you look closely, you will see an asterisk that designates those that are listed that are our courses that we have developed that count for that biology credit, and then you have another 2 asterisks that designate the physical science credits. And if you actually check our website under graduation requirements, if you search for graduation requirements, you will see a page that has the graduation requirements listed, but it also has a link to something called a Smart Core course list. That is in the process of being updated. And once that is updated, we will notify you and let you know that, and it will have more specific information with the listings of those things that can be as those third graduation requirements. So for example, it can get a little bit confusing. So for example, let's say a student took our integrated biology course for their biology credit. And then let's say they took our integrated chemistry course for their physical science credit. They could then go on and take another biology course, and sometimes it looks like you need 2 physical sciences, and that can get misinterpreted. So they could then go on and take a physics course. They could take a Project Lead the Way course for an additional third course. So what I recommend you right now, until we get that SMART core list updated, is for you to call Michelle Snyder, and you'll have her contact information in this slide deck. She loves to get phone calls from schools. She will help guide you through all the options and let you know. We want students to have the optimal experience. This is all done with students in mind and thinking about the needs for those students and letting them choose a pathway that is towards a career that they're very interested in. So any questions, please feel free to contact Michelle, and we will let you know as soon as that list is updated. Sorry it's not available currently. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. And we got one more for science, but I think Michelle was ready to throw something at you. No, just kidding. We all will take phone calls as we can get them, and are happy to get those. I will tell you, a lot of us, it is quicker and to get a response and easier to get a response if you'll just email us.
Yes, that's true.
And I want to go ahead and mention that we actually have set up a email address that if you go to our STEM pages and you see the STEM unit with a link on it, that actually links to a new email address. It's STEM4AR, and the 4 is the number 4, the numeral 4, so STEM4AR@arkansas.gov. And believe it or not, that email address automatically distributes to the majority of our STEM team at least one representative from math, science, and computer science. And so we all see those messages that come across that in case it's kind of a cross-STEM type question or issue, and we'll be glad to address it. So, Kathy, jumping to the next question.
Okay.
Laura says, or asks, can you give us a link to the specific place on the site where it shows how a class is designated? I think once again this is the same type of question. Where do we find whether environmental science or physical or biology science? Or to ask another way, where do we look to see which classes count as a biology credit? And I think that just goes back to both the math and the science standards and courses pages on our newly designed sites. We've been really conscientious of making sure that they denote those courses, whether it be a third science or a fourth math or whatever it may be. So I can kind of take that one again and just reiterate that it's going out there to our website, those new course and standards pages, and just looking at that information. And then if you can't figure it out, call Michelle.
Well, and we'll all take those calls also for math. And I know that it can be a little confusing since our website's changed. Where you used to go on our website may look a little different, especially since we have the new structure with the STEM unit and the Arts and Humanities unit. But if you can either go directly to math or directly to science, but if all else fails, go to Learning Services. And from Learning Services, you can go to Curriculum Support. And then under Curriculum Support, you will have Arts and Humanities unit and the STEM unit. And you can click on the STEM unit, or within the STEM unit, you will see each of us listed individually: math, science, computer science. So we'll get you there. And career ed, yeah. So there are lots of different ways to get there. And if for some reason you can't find it, pick up the phone and give us a call. We'll be glad to walk you through it.
Okay, so I don't see any more questions that have come in. Any last minute thoughts from the STEM team around the table? Epiphanies or questions that y'all think may have arisen from a different subject area as they were presenting? No?
Stay tuned for more fun and updates.
Sign up for AR Math Quest.
Yeah. So we're gonna finish up with a couple more slides, and then I will go ahead and remind everyone that this is a quarterly webinar series. We have already scheduled the next one tentatively to be on August 7th. We kind of like this time in the morning, 8:30. So we will have that. These webinars will stay posted as long as we have this YouTube channel up and running. So you can always review them at your own leisure. So that said, we're going to finish up a couple of things here. We get a lot of questions about, are there grant opportunities, especially in computer science. And what I did is I actually went out and I found, when I started the computer science field, I would look for these grant opportunities and I'd paste links to them, and by the time I got around to updating them, half of them had already passed submission date, and it was just a lot of effort to keep that list up to date. So what we actually did is we found a very comprehensive list. It's ran by the Journal, and a very comprehensive list of STEM opportunities and STEM grants that are available, kind of sorted by submission date and deadline. So we no longer try to keep up with that because we were always falling behind in that, or at least I was. So go out and visit that if you're looking for STEM grants or STEM opportunities for your students. I want to go ahead and share the Arkansas Career Ed STEM office contact information. Once again, this information, you can pull this deck down later, or you have the information there. If Michelle doesn't give you the answer you want, call Chris. Don't do that, by the way. That does cause problems for us. So if we have a question between our two units or between all the different areas, and we want to be consistent in our messaging. And so we have a lot of discussions, and that's one of the beautiful things about having the STEM unit kind of as its own entity. I believe that we've seen a lot more communication, specifically about STEM amongst with career ed, within our groups, etc. So, but that said, you have the information for career ed. My team is not going to try to answer too many questions regarding programs of study. We're not, and I want to say my team, my ADE team, we're not going to answer questions about federal Perkins funding, and that's just simply because that changes so quickly, and there's so much minutia about that we just don't want to get ourselves in and have supply misinformation to a school that is not reality. So for questions like that, please reach out to Chris's office. Once again, here is our ADE internal contact information. Our main number there is 682-0459. That will ring our main desk there, and of course our websites. And then my contact information, once again, same phone number. I don't share my phone number quite a bit because honestly I'm hardly ever at my desk to answer it. If you want to get in touch with me, your best bet is to send me a email, and I'll be happy to respond to that. So that said, we're ready to wrap up our first webinar. I think it was an overall success. So thank you, team. Appreciate the hard work that y'all put into this. And those of y'all out in the field, please keep those questions coming. We can't answer questions unless they're actually presented to us. So we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So thank you, and I hope y'all have a great day, and do well with your students today. Have a good day.